For more, I'm joined in the studio by Marion Duquesne from the Women's Rights Association, the Mediterranean Women's Fund. Thank you very much for being with us on France 24. Let's go through some of the government's proposals then, if you will. More than €350 million is to be allocated to try and tackle this problem, namely more places in women's shelters, retraining police officers, that kind of thing. Is the government on the right track here?
Well, the idea would be, they are on the right track, except that the funding is quite not enough. For instance, they said that 530 places in housing shelters were created in 2019, and no one has seen them nor heard of them. So they are basing their increase for housing shelters on numbers that don't really exist. And there's actually some places where there actually going to be less money. For instance, the Secretariat of State is not getting 1 penny more. Communications campaign, there were 4 million this year. There's only going to be 2 million last year. So there's a decrease, and the rest of the money, the 1 billion that they're talking about, is already 75% for foreign development support. So that's only 25% allocated to France and not just violence against women.
Right, because the urgency seems to be that there are not enough places in women's refuges. There is nowhere for women to go if they're living in a violent relationship and they need to get out of that relationship for their own lives. That doesn't seem to be happening with this new policy.
No, it's not. And they keep saying that they're going to create more and more places in women's shelters, but no one has seen them. And the organizations who do welcome women and take care of them are completely overwhelmed and cannot help them. So first, they should also invest more money in the shelters that already exist and do create the new spaces that they've been talking about for the past 2 years.
So where do the shelters get their money from now? Is that independent donations?
I think so, and there's also some funding from the government, but it's getting thinner and thinner for the past 2 years. We are a women's fund, so we support women's organizations, and we can see that they are getting less and less money as we get more and more requests, for instance.
Now, the Prime Minister has also said that he will fix what he called absurdities in the law. For example, give judges more power to issue restraining orders. It seems that has been a big problem with women continually going to police officers and the police just failing to act. Do you think that might help change the situation?
It might help, but there needs to be a training of everyone who works with women victims of violence, whereas it is the police or it is the judges or it is all these people, because you can have measures that exist or policies that exist, but if you don't train people in understanding the phenomenon, then they don't implement. And the police, they should, report when women come and they don't, or they send them away saying, oh, it's not that bad, it's not a problem, or you come back next time if he actually hits you. So the measures that do exist are not even implemented right.
France has one of the highest rates of domestic violence in Europe, according to EU statistics. This is a country, which prides itself on calling for human rights around the world. Why are French women being let down so badly, do you think?
I think France might have a higher tolerance to sexism and violence against women. We could see what happened when Me Too started, and there was a huge backlash in France, even coming from actresses themselves, who said that, men should have the right to bother women. So I think we praise ourselves a lot on being the country of human rights, but if you look at the reality of human rights and women's rights in France, it's not the case so well.
All right, Marion Duquesne, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.